it's Affy, and today I'm here to do my top 15 of 2023. I was gonna do a top 10, but I couldn't do just 10. It was really hard. So I did top 15 instead. I know a lot of people are doing top 23 of 2023, but I feel like 15 is a good number, and I'm happy with the list that I have. This is a pretty diverse list, I feel like. This is going off of books that I've read this year, not specifically books that came out this year. I'll be counting down, so I'll start at 15 and work my way down to my number one read for this year. So book number 15 is by Maya Banks. This is Highlander Most Wanted. This is a story about a woman who has been abused, kidnapped, and we have our hero who comes to her town essentially and frees her, and it's a beautiful love story. I really like this one. This one made me cry, so take what you will out of that. I don't cry very often with books, so if it makes me cry, it's gotta be on the list. So, book number 14 is by Vivian Lorette. This is A Rogue to Ruin. And this is a story about two business owners who are going at it. She's trying to ruin his business because she feels like he's ruining her business. And this is super cute, pretty funny, and it's got some dangerous points to it as well. So I really enjoyed this one. So my book number 13 for this year is by Karen Rainey. This is One Man's Love. And in this story, we have a half British, half Scottish general. Is he a general? I can't remember, but he's in the military. He's working for the Brits, and this is during the time of Culloden, and so the Scots do not like him, and he ends up having to go home to Scotland where they don't remember him, and he falls back in love with a woman that he knew as a child, but she doesn't realize who he is at the time. This one's so intriguing. I love this book. It just left me feeling kind of hopeful. He has to kind of work his way from being the bad guy to being someone that she can see positively in her eyes. And he really does that. He takes on the mantle, and he's just amazing. I love this guy. So, One Man's Love by Karen Rainey. This is the start of a series called The Highland Lords, and it's a pretty good series so far. So, book number 12, we've got Kerrigan Byrne. This is How to Love a Duke in 10 Days. In this book, we have a young woman who is part of a tag team of redheaded young ladies. And she has gone through some horrible things in her past. I feel like that's just normal for Kerrigan Byrne books. But she has gone through some horrible things, and she meets our hero. They get married, and things start happening. Her past starts to catch up with her, and he has to basically kind of be her knight in shining armor. And this is another fun one, very action-packed, especially towards the end there, and just all types of fun and intrigue. So if you like Kerrigan Byrne, this is definitely a really good one by her. All right, so number 11 is by Eva Leigh. This is Dare to Love a Duke. This is part of the London Underground series. And in this book, we have a woman who is the not an owner necessarily, but she runs a sex club. And our hero, who is the Duke that happens to own this sex club, although he doesn't know it yet, they meet and he's taken with her. He shows up every week just to talk to her, and things get very interesting once he learns that he owns this club. And they basically end up spending even more time together. And the sparks that were already there fly even more once that happens. So this one is really, really good. The hero in this is part of my Alpha Mellow series. If you haven't watched that video, you should watch it because he is definitely a sweetheart. So now we're getting into our top 10. Number 10 is by Joanna Shoup. This is a new one for the year. This is The Duke Gets Even. And this is part of the Fifth Avenue Rebels series. This is the last book in the series, and this book is really good. I have another book from this series on my top 10 as well. You'll see that pretty soon here. But this series is just so good, and this last book was amazing. So we've got a Spitfire, just full of life, vivacious young woman who doesn't let anybody stop her from doing what she wants to do. And then we've got our hero who is just uptight, does things the way it's supposed to be done. He's the complete opposite of her, and they meet, opposites clash, and good times ensue. This is very, very rompy book. So if you're into the sexy times, this book definitely brings it with the sexy times. So book number 9 is by Harper St. George. This is a book I recently finished. This is part of the Gilded Age Heiresses series, and this is The Duchess Takes a Husband. This is the last book in the series, and in this book we have a young woman who was basically forcefully married. Her husband was abusive to her, and now that he's died and she's a widow, she wants to experience love. She wants to have a good sexual experience. She wants to basically make love, and she finds a man who does that for her. He helps teach her what true lovemaking is about, and kind of eases her fears around that. And this is a beautiful, beautiful story. I had a really hard time figuring out what number to put this one at because I really do love this book. The hero in here is also part of my Alpha Mellow series. He's just so patient and so sweet with her, and like he just had my heart the entire book. So this is a really good one. If you haven't read that series, it's a good series, so definitely check it out. So for book number 8, I've got here a new this year book by Stacy Reed. This is The Wolf and the Wildflower. And in this book, we have our hero who has been living in the wild in Canada for 10 years. He went missing as a child, and now that he has returned to England, he is trying to basically reintegrate himself into society, and he needs a lot of help with that, which is where our heroine comes in. Our heroine happens to she's been playing as a man her whole entire life, and he sniffs her out. He literally sniffs her out and can tell that she is a woman, and refuses to work with anyone but her. And they spend a lot of time together, and this is a beautiful story. I'm smiling just thinking about it. Their time spent together is just, this is a beautiful story. If you haven't read Stacy Reed as a whole, she's an amazing author. I have another book by her in this list as well. I couldn't pick just one, so yeah. The Wolf and the Wildflower. Book number 7 is a short novella that I read this year that had me cracking up. This is by Daria Vernon. This is Get Thee Off My Lawn, a rom-com, a Regency rom-com with a swan problem. This book is basically about two neighbors and a swan, and I don't want to say too much. I'm going to say just that. It's about two neighbors and a swan. It's so funny. So it's just hilarious. And the swan, Gerald, is fed up by the end of the book. He's just tired of these two. And I really enjoyed myself. It had me laughing. It had me kicking my feet. So if you haven't, definitely read this. It's a short read. I usually don't read novellas, but this one definitely got me into novellas. So check it out. Book number 6. So this is one of my 6-star reads for the year. This is by Beverly Jenkins. This is Wild Sweet Love. And this story is about Teresa July, who is the sibling of the July family, or the only sister, sorry, of the Julys. And she is a wild child, hence the name Wild Sweet Love. She really is a wild child. She is a former train robber, and she is on the straight and narrow now, and she meets our hero, who is the son of a woman who's trying to help her get back on her feet and get her life together. And they have a steamy good time. They've got some very, very sassy moments between the two of them in this book. And I loved it. I really, really loved it. Teresa is such a cool character. Beverly Jenkins always writes amazing female or just heroines in general. But I love Teresa. She is just top tier. I love her. So number 5 is actually not a book, but an entire series that I just finished reading. This is the Sins for All Seasons series. This is by Lorraine Heath. And I have given every single book in this series 5 stars. I am obsessed with this series. I will tell everyone, I will shout it from the mountaintops. You have to read this series. It is so good. Book 1 through 6, they are all amazing. I can't pick a favorite out of this series, and that's really, really saying something. This is about the Truelove family, so they're a family of bastards, essentially, and the mother took each of them in. She was basically supposed to get rid of these kids, and by get rid, I mean basically kill them. But she decided not to, and she decided to keep them, raise them as her own. And there are 6 of them, and they're just a beautiful family. I will say I do have a favorite hero, which is Aiden. Aiden Truelove is my favorite hero. And my favorite heroine is Gilly Truelove. She's one of the sisters. So I do have favorites as far as the characters go, but I can't pick a favorite book because it's just so hard. They're all so unique and so amazing in their own right. So if you haven't read Lorraine Heath, this is a good place to start. If you have and you haven't read this series, get on it. It's so good. But yeah, I really have enjoyed reading this series. It's been the highlight of my year. So book number 4 is by Joanna Shupe. This is another book in the Fifth Avenue Rebel series, and this is The Lady Gets Lucky. We've got Alice and Kit, and Kit and Alice are some of my favorite characters of all time. Kit is just the sweetest man. He is there for his woman. He is like Serena Williams' husband. He is there for her no matter what. He is just by her side through everything, through thick and thin, and I love him for that. And Alice is a go-getter. She knows what she wants, and she really puts her foot out there, and I just love the both of them. In this story, we have obviously Kit and Alice, and she asks him for lessons in seduction, and he counters with, you need to basically help me with my new business that I'm opening up. You have skills and know things that I need to open this business. Like, you have information that I need. So I will give you these lessons in seduction if you help me with the information that I need to open my business. And this book is another one that makes me smile. I'm definitely ready for a reread of this book. It was so, so good. And so I'm putting it on my reread list for 2024. All right, so we are down to my top 3 books for 2023. Book number 3. This is an oldie, but I'm going to say a goodie. I really, really love this book. I was actually recommended this book by a subscriber, so thank you to you, whoever it was. This was so, so good. This is by Judith McNaught. This is Almost Heaven. And in this book, we have a hero who is basically just sprung for our heroine. And our heroine who, she's just the golden child. Everybody loves her. She ends up getting ruined, and he gets upset with her. And a few years later, she is still looking for a husband, obviously because she's been ruined. She's having a hard time with it. And she ends up on his doorstep somehow. And he's not happy about it. But they start to rekindle their romance. And this goes on an epic journey. I mean, this book is like 500 something pages long. And it felt like watching a movie. It was just so good. Everything I needed in a book. I loved it from start to finish. I loved the characters. I loved the story, the plot. Even when it got a little crazy, it was still just so good. So if you haven't read this before, definitely check it out. This is my first Judith McNaught book. Book number 2. We're getting close to number 1, you guys. So this is by the queen of historical romances. This is part of the Hathaway series. This is Lisa Kleypas, Married by Morning. In this book, we have Leo Hathaway and Catherine Marks, and Kat has basically been the governess for the Hathaway family for several years, and she and Leo do not get along. They do not like each other. But in this book, things start to change, and they definitely start to like and eventually love each other. And he goes all out for his woman once she's his. And I just love this book. It was so funny. Leo is hilarious. And Kat is just kind of this prissy young lady who's like, you can't ruffle my feathers, but he does. He really, really ruffles her feathers. But like I said, this book is a really, really funny one. It had me just kicking up my feet and giggling. I wanted to reread it immediately after finishing it, so this was a 6-star read for me. So my last book for the year, my number 1 top pick for 2023, is by Stacy Reed. Like I said, I had another book by her on this list, and this book has just, I've talked about it all year, so it shouldn't be a surprise, but A Scoundrel of Her Own. And this is part of the Sinful Wildflower series. I believe it's the first book in the series. But this book is amazing. This book is so good. If you've read Again the Magic, this book has Again the Magic vibes. We've got a class difference in here. We've got a second chance romance. So like I said, very much like Again the Magic. But in this book, we do not have a hero who is out for revenge. Our hero is very, very, very into our heroine and has been waiting for her basically since he was a child. He has been ready to be with her, and he does everything in his power to become a powerful man, a rich man, so that he can be with her. And it's just so gorgeous. I love this book so, so much. Yeah, I gave it 6 stars. I basically wanted to reread it immediately after finishing it, and I do plan to reread it this year in 2024. I haven't been able to stop thinking about this book. Like, it lives in my mind rent free. So this is my top read of 2023, my favorite book of all the books I've read historical romance wise so far. It kicked again the magic, just knocked it off the throne, and again the magic has been sitting on the floor ever since. Gold star, gold medal, just gold everything. This book did it for me, and I've loved it ever since I read it. So if you haven't read Stacy Reed, she's amazing. Like I said earlier, definitely check her books out. But this one is a solid, just 6 star. This one's amazing. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out my top 15 of the year. I definitely could have done 23. There's other books that I really love this year too, but these were just my faves, like the ones that I can't stop thinking about. They just pop up into my head randomly as I'm doing things. These are the books that, I just can't stop thinking about. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what some of your favorite books for 2023 are. If you have made it to the end of this video, give me the camel emoji. Yeah, I want to do an animal this time. So give me a camel emoji. And otherwise, try and leave some messages in the comment section and we can talk. But this is my last video for 2023, and I will see you in the next year. Bye.